Hi, this is my first voiceover. Thank you everyone for joining me. So I just really wanted to do a voiceover for this one because I wanted to talk about all the choices I made in this. As you can see, I'm going in with the first sketch, which is a side angle. Um, this is not what I end up doing. I also fuck up and I put it on the background gray layer. So I lower the opacity and I do all that jazz. Um, and here I'm trying to make it look good. I know it doesn't look good, so I'm just trying to I'm like, maybe the sweater will help, but then I end up scrapping it because I'm like, this pose is not going to work. I'm not going to be very happy with this. So I go and I find a picture of Will in like a standing position. It doesn't end up emulating the standing position very well, but I go with it anyway. Um, so here's me trying to sketch that out, and I go in with these glasses and I start on the eyes. Um, the eyes gave me a little bit of trouble, so you can see I'm not doing them here yet. I only switch the sides once because I don't really check my angles and as much as I should. I don't mirror it as much as I should. Really gotta start doing that, but I don't really care. It probably would have helped on this piece because I had a lot of struggles with the proportions. You can see I'm going in with the hair here, and I try to go in with the eyes, and I'm like, these aren't working. I'm gonna try something else. So I end up going in and trying to do like hair over the eyes, and I really like the effect that this gave because it like let the eyes be covered by the hair and like the shading that I go in and I do at the end. But it also, because of the angle, like the lines of the hair and the way it flows, it looks like he just has his eyes closed at the same time. So you don't really know which one it is. I know which one it is because I know what I did. But I go in with the hand here and I'm like, this is not working. I have to make it bigger. I have to move it. And these arms really gave me a lot of trouble. I did not have fun working with them. They made me very unhappy. But I'd go and I try to save it anyway. I'm like, I really want to do this piece. I really want to go in. I really want to do these things. So I'm doing it anyway. I'm having struggles with this arm too. This arm barely stays in the final cut. So the fact that I'm sitting here and sketching, like looking back in hindsight, I'm just like, no, save your time. Just go in and do something else. But here I was really trusting the process. I was like, this sucks. This does not look good, but I'm gonna like keep going because sometimes you just have to. I really wanted to draw this, so cause like the color was the main reason why I did this piece, and we'll get to that later. I'll talk about the color when we get to the color. Um, for the shirt, I really wanted to do that shirt he has where it's like half gray, half white. I can post a picture on the screen for you guys so you can see. And I saw a good picture of him in the magenta-y, like pink lighting I planned on doing for this piece. So I was like, ooh, that'll be nice. It'll help me color pick for the shirt. So I ended up going in and trying to do that shirt. It did cause a lot of the issues. So you'll see that something a little different happens later. But as of right now, that's my like main inspiration and what I'm drawing from. Um, so yeah, I go in with the line and I like gray it out so that I can make sure that I know to color that area, all that jazz. I'm zooming in and I'm at this point I'm like, I really want that hand down there because I really like this pose. Um, and because I really want that hand down there, I ended up choosing to make some decisions I didn't really want to, but in the end I think it did look good. So here I am making that arm a little bit bigger just to see if that would make it look better. It did a little bit, and then I moved it in like a weird way, and I'm rambling about just how much I hated doing these arms. These arms sucked. I wish I drew them better. I wish there was a way for me to draw them better. And now you can see I ditch like that hand down there. I'm like, we only get a finger now because I don't care. I want this to be bigger. I think it'll look better if I reposition it. I'm fiddling around with this hem on the shirt and I'm like, this but here I am. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trust the process. A lot of this stuff is gonna be fixed with the color, A. B, I like the line art. See, I just have to trust the process at this point, because at this point I think I'd been like sketching for like an hour, which is a lot for me. I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour. Usually my sketches take 20 to 30 minutes, so I really was fiddling with it for a long time. I go in and I start with the hair first. That's usually where I start, if not with the face. But because of Will's hair and the way that I draw it so fluffily, I like to go in with the hair first so that I make sure all the areas I want to cover, I don't have to like erase face lines later. Also, I just really love lining hair. I really love drawing hair in general, so it was a very nice like reprieve from fiddling with that sketch. It was very nice like break. It helped calm me down and like get me right back on track. And I'm going in here with the glasses, which I really liked. For a long time, I had trouble like drawing glasses, and even though I have them, I was like, why can I not draw glasses? I have them. I got a little I got a little refraction going on, just a little one, you can barely tell, but I thought it would be nice to include for everybody who does notice it, even though I'm pointing it out right now. So I'm going in with the lines on the body now, and so there is a little part of that neck that you'll see it looks a little weird. I do fix that later after I come back to it, because this was like a 2-day project, because I just had to like leave it be at one point. And so I'm struggling here with where I want to go next, so I decide on the hands. I'm like, there's no time better for the hands, I have to do them right now. And I think the arms definitely did look better after I lined them. However, I still did not like the look of them very much. I do think it looked a lot better though. And it does look a lot better after I go in and I fix some stuff. Because right now it just like looks kind of weird, like weirdly positioned. It doesn't look like a way you would hold a microphone. Also, that pointer finger on the microphone looks like a thumb. And I promise you it's a pointer finger and not a thumb. But I know that's hard to believe because it does not look like that. I go in and I put a thin little line down the middle of the shirt so that I can see where to place the gray. I really didn't like that. I thought it looked better in the sketch, but see here I'm like changing it and moving it. We don't have that hand at all now. There's not even a finger. I'm like, I don't care. See, I'm going in and fixing like parts of the shoulder and like where I see like stuff looks bad. So now I'm going in with the color. I put a like dim purple background over it, and here I start with like harsh colors. So if you guys don't want to watch the flats because the colors are too harsh, I will put a timestamp and you can go ahead and skip to when the shading starts, because flats still look a little bright at that point, but once I start shading it definitely gets easier to watch. So if you want to skip, I don't mind. But I'm gonna start talking about my color choices here. So I'd seen a lot of pictures of him in like this bright like colored lighting, and I hadn't done like a nice challenge with my colors in a bit. I hadn't done anything like super fun, so I was like, I think this would be really nice if I tried to do something like this, and I was really happy with the outcome of those color choices and like the colors that I chose. I have this website where I like generate random palettes, so I uploaded a picture of him in one of the lighting pictures of him like this, and I kind of like it like color picked for me from that drawing, and then from there I was able to like drag the like different color pickers where I wanted the colors, so I can get more accurate representations of what I wanted the tones to be. I'm going in here with the hair and the dark purple. And right after this hair, I end up actually going to eat, and then I took a shower, and then I came back, and I was like, I don't want to do this right now. So that's why this was a 2-day project. So I closed it, I ended my recording, and I came back the next day, and I came back the next day with fresh eyes, which you're gonna see right here. This is when I come back the next day, and I'm like, I know what I need to do, so I turn off my colors, and I'm like, this body is too small, it looks weird, the head is too big in comparison, so I start fiddling with that, and because I'm fiddling with that, I have to go in, and I have to fix the line work where it doesn't match up, which was fine. It did take a lot less effort than I expected it to. Flashbang right there. And I'm like, this shirt is doing me no favors. The line, without the line, just looks so much better. I don't know why I did that in the first place. I was trying to save it for way too long, and it just did not work out, so it's gone. Goodbye. We won't miss you. And so I'm going in here with the skin color, and I'm like fixing where it's like now over the line because I colored it when it looked a bit different. And really here, it's just like a bunch of flats. There's not really much to say, I guess, unless we talk about like shading and stuff too. Flats are pretty boring. They're just like, I didn't start doing that until recently. Flats, I used to go in with a flat and then I would shade the whole layer and then I would move on to another part of it and then I would shade that part until like I got to the last part. But now I find it a lot easier and a lot simpler to like start with the flats and then shade from there, because then you can also like see how the rest of it, your piece, is affecting that lighting and what would be going on, rather than just like kind of guessing. And I think it does make my pieces look a lot better that I do that now. Just like in like a very small way that I can notice myself. Like I don't think it's like super noticeable, but it does help a lot, and I'm really glad it's something I started doing. I saw my friends doing that and I was like, ooh, that's actually a good idea. Wow, what a novel concept. So me going in with the shirt color here, this was one of the only color, like flat colors I didn't pick from that image, because the image I picked from didn't have him wearing a white shirt. He was wearing like a dark hoodie, or not a hoodie. He was wearing a dark sweater, and so I was like, well, obviously there's a different shirt. And since it's a white shirt, I could just kind of guess that it would have just been a light pink, especially because of that reference I had of the half white, half gray shirt. Is pretty much what I guessed. And I'm going in here with the last flat, which is the microphone. I wanted to put a little like red lighting on the microphone to show that it was also being illuminated by the magenta-ish lighting, but that didn't happen. I forgot. It would have happened if I did not forget, but I did. So now I'm going in with the shading right here, and with the shading, I really did not know where to put my colors. Like, I didn't know where to put my light source. So I figured, like, in these, like, the lights are usually, like, pointing from up, pointing from down, pointing left and right, like, when they're on stage, because they usually have, like, a lot of these different lights to set the mood. So I just figured they were all, like, pointing around him, so just to, like, put the shadows where they made sense in relation to his body rather than in relation to the light. If that makes any sense at all. And so I'm just doing that same thing all around on the skin. I really love the way I shaded the skin. I think it made it look very nice, and I'm really glad that I shaded it in the way that I did, because I think if I did choose like one specific light source, it wouldn't like have turned out as good as it did. Like, I still don't think it's like my best piece, but I don't think it's the worst, and I am really happy with it, especially because of the coloring and the shading and the lighting that I did. So yeah, here I'm going in with the shading on the hair, just again with the darker colors. I'm trying to use more saturated colors for these instead of just like darker versions of the colors I'm already using. Because that's not always like the best. Like, it doesn't look bad, and I use it that way in a lot of my drawings. However, because of the type of lighting I was doing in this one, I really wanted it so that it was saturated. Like, I don't draw a lot of pieces where colors are like super saturated, so I definitely like was having a lot of fun playing around like that. So I'm just trying to follow like where I want the hair to be like flowing from and stuff again, like I was back when I was sketching and lining the hair. So I go through here and I go in with the shading on the shirt. I thought I was starting lighting already, like highlighting. I really love the color I chose for the shirt shading. I just think it's like such a nice pink, and it highlights that it's a shadow and also like super saturated at the same time. I don't know why I love it so much, but I think it really adds a lot to this piece, especially on like the left like shirt sleeve. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. So now I'm going into the lighting, and I pick like a brighter color for my highlight on the skin. And I really like my highlight on the skin. It's simple, there's less of it, but you can still tell that it's there. You can still tell that where these like lights are shining onto him. And I go in with the hair. With the hair, I do two different highlights. So I go in with like a slightly lighter purple to show that it's like being highlighted overall. And then after this like slightly lighter purple, I go in with like a very saturated one to show that the light is also bouncing off of his hair rather than just having the highlights in his hair. If that like means anything to you at all. It means something to me. I don't know. So now I'm going in with those like super bright highlights, and I'm really being sparse with them because I want them to pop. I want them to like actually mean something, because if there was too much of it, I feel like it just would be too much. Like, you wouldn't really understand why I put so much of it there. It would just seem like spotlight on the hair. But now I'm going in with the lighting on the shirt, and I'm trying to do something fun with the background because I don't want it to be like a full background, but I want it to be a bit more interesting. So I go in with that, and I fiddle with that a lot because I think it looks good, but I want it to look better. And eventually I do settle there. And this is about where I start approaching the end. So thank you everyone for watching my first voiceover if you are here at the end of my video. And thank you for giving me the time. I will definitely be doing voiceovers again. And as I am on hormone replacement therapy, I think it'll be fun to watch my voice change throughout the videos. So thank you everyone for watching, and have a nice day.